Right. Fuck. What a plastic. That's better. Oh, oops, that clipped. Right. Right, hopefully Nicola's watching. Can anybody hear me? Oh. I have my cup of tea. Oh, lovely. Right, so open up the painting that we were doing. I think it's this one here. Now, decided that I don't like the foothills. I don't like the foothills, so I'm going to get rid of the foothills. And I'm going to put another layer of mountains in there. Another layer of mountains. I'm going to choose my Bob Ross brushes. Choose my mountain brush, the palette knife for the mountain brush. Bring down the size of the painting a bit. Select my mountain colour. Increase the size of the brush slightly. And decide where I want the mountains in my world. These mountains, they're going to be rather bigger because these are going to be foreground mountains. So let's see. I have one here coming up, like so. Draw out the come down with that, and also we'll have him coming up here like this. Just draw in the, just lay down some paint, lay some colour down. Thank you, Will. Yeah, just nice sharp peak here, and we'll have another one about the same size, but this one will have a flatter top, and bring that down gently. Add some paint in. Get your colour in there. Maybe a little one coming up here as well, like so. Just lay plenty of dark colour down at the moment. Like so. Just bringing it all down. Now, if we want to see that more clearly to work on, we can actually hide the two mountain layers below and just work on this. So change our brush to the blender, nice and small, and refine the edges of our mountains like so. Just tidy up the edge, just tidy up the edges and drag it out like so. Increase the size of the blender and just pull out to the size of the mountains. Like so. Got the golf on in the background so I can keep an eye on the Honda Classic. Now we're going to bring back the other two layers. Now, might want to move these about a bit, so the easiest way is to use the transform and there. That'll do fine. Okay, so I'm going to hide that layer whilst I work on these a bit. Oops. Go back to the brush. I'm going to now change brushes to my snow brush. I'm going to reduce the size of it a bit. Now I'm also going to tilt the canvas slightly. I'm going to choose a nice white for the snow, and I'm going to draw in my ridge lines for each peak like so. Just going to do this for each one of the peaks. Wherever there's a peak, I'm going to have a ridge line. Just gently remember, this is your world. You can put as many peaks as you want in these mountains. Now we're just going to slowly draw down the highlights. so. Just defining the shapes of our mountains at the moment, excuse me. Oops. And remembering the direction that your knife goes will help to define the shape of the slope. And remember what I said the last time, every highlight needs a shadow. So choose a nice, that'll do. Increase the size a bit. Go to this one here. So we need a shadow here. Anywhere I need a shadow. Every highlight needs a shadow. Very subtle, these shadows. Just putting in the shadows. You can take your time with this, just draw in some shadows. Now I'm going to reduce the size of the canvas a bit so that I can have a good look. I want to bring back the other mountain layer. Okay. Now, with our mountain layer highlighted, I want to use the shader brush again, the blender, and just slightly blend upwards, following the shape of the slopes. So, Just blending upwards, following the shape of the slopes, like so. Just slightly upwards. Like so. Now let's put a bit of mist around the bottom of these. So we'll choose our cloud brush again. White, I'm going to reduce the size and just dab it in, like so. Like that. There. Just a tiny little bit of mist. Go back to our blender and blend the top of the mist gently into the mountains, like so, with 2 hairs and some air, hardly touching. Increase the size of it, like so, just hardly touching. And then blend the bottom of it down. Just 2 hairs and some air. Now we want something that's going to frame this, so we're going to create a layer. I'm going to call this left hand side. I'm going to go into my digital colour mixer. I'm going to choose Van Dyke Brown and Mountain Colour. There. Change my brush. Reduce the size of it a bit. Let's see. Yep, that'll do. Control ZZ. Increase the opacity right up. There. So, now, let's have a little tree. Let's see how brave you are. We'll have a tree. Start here. Coming down. We'll have another one here. Like so. Okay. Now what we will do is we want to add some highlights to these trunks. So I'm going to change my brush into my mountain knife. I'm going to go up into the brush settings engine, and I'm going to change the angle so that it is near enough vertical, sorry. That's it. Okay. Now, Van Dyke Brown and a bit of yellow ochre. Remember what side our highlights are. Our light source is coming from the right, so I want to add a touch of dark to the left hand side. And some highlights to the right hand side. Like so. Okay. Now, again in digital colour mixer. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to choose my mounting colour with some sap green and some yellow ochre and some Indian yellow and some bright red. I'm going to go up into my, let's see what we've got in textures now. No, there's nothing I want there. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my Bob Ross palette and choose the same brush that we drew with before, and we're going to just starting at the top, just bring out some leaves for these evergreen trees, like so. Like so. And start at the top of this one. Just following the shape of the trunk down. Remembering to, as we go lower, don't keep the shapes too uniform. We want to give the illusion of some coming forward and some going out. Like so. Now remember what side our light source is, so we're just going to add a bit of definition here. Like so. Now we want to add some highlights. So highlights will be, because of our light source, will be on the right hand side, sparingly with the highlights on the edges, in between the darks. Remember, you can't have light without dark, and you can't have dark without light. Just showing that there may be some coming forward. And on this tree here. We can change up as well. Just adding some highlights to the side of the tree that will catch some light. You can take your time doing this. Also, we could add a bit of spatter to the tree, like so. Now, maybe I want a bush there as well, a nice bush. So we can create another layer, but we can create it under the trees, or no, we'll go over the trees. So we'll create another layer here, call that left hand bush. Like so. We'll use our cloud brush for this because we want to bring in a whole lot of area. Mountain colour, let's be brave. Maybe our bush in our world is going to be right across here, covering up this tree. Okay, coming down to, it's coming down to here, like so. That'll do. Now, again, using the spatter brush, we can define some shapes in here. Let's choose the green and just pick out some shapes, leaving dark areas, making sure to go to the edges but leave some dark areas, like so. Now we'll add a little bit of yellow ochre and catch the highlights. Like so. Defining some form into our undergrowth here. Maybe we'll want a bit brighter, so we'll go for some Indian. Just adding colour and texture. Let's have a bit of bright red. Oh, that makes it pop, you see. Looks like there's other stuff in there as well. Let's have a there. Excuse me, don't make it too uniform. But there. Now we have that side done. We can do the same for the right hand side, but in this case we can go really wild. So let's create a new layer, right hand side, bosh. Choose our cloud brush, choose our mountain colour. Let's be bold and brave. Increase the size of the brush a bit. Let's go all the way up to, say, all the way up to here. Come out here. Oh, and just fill in with a nice dark colour. Like so. Just fill in all this space with a nice dark colour. Like this. And coming on down right to the bottom. And come all the way down to there. Right. Now we want a few branches in there, so choose Van Dyke Brown, change your brush to a nice liner brush. Let's draw a trunk. So we'll have our trunk coming down like that. We'll have some brushes, some branches coming off of it. highlight part. Just a few highlights and some dark areas. Right, again we'll go into our scattered terrain tool, a brush. Let's choose a green again and let's decide where we want our leaves to go on our tree. Just filling in the shape of the tree. Here. With some nice textures, leaving dark areas. Again, we could highlight the tops with some nice yellow ochre. And some Indian yellow for the brighter areas. Like so. Just to give our tree a bit of shape, a bit of depth. Now, we might have a nice grassy knoll, so let's choose some random grass, green. Increase the size ever so slightly and just paint in our grass like so, following the shape of the land. Like so. Again, add some highlighted parts. Like so. Now we have some grassy bits. Let's have a bit more yellow ochre in here. There. Maybe we want a bush at the bottom. Again, we'll use our mountain colour and paint in a nice dark bush here. Just fill this in like so. Fill it in like that. Choose some leaves. Like so. Now our scatter pattern that we used. That one. And again, just build up the shapes of our bush, our undergrowth. Have some bright red. Yellow ochre, just gently. Some Indian yellow. Just adding flowers here and there. And there we have a painting. But we can do more. We can go back to our mountain layer, last mountain layer here, and we can decide that we just for now want to hide all of that we've just done, like so. And on our mountain, at the bottom of our mountain here, we might decide that we want to rotate that slightly, like that. Yep, okay. Now, if we get our, choose our brush, choose our mountain brush, into the brush settings, we want a nice horizontal brush. Now, go into the digital colour mixer, brown, and we might want to paint on a bit of foreground. Excuse me, just a tiny bit of foreground, like so. With some highlights. Now if we go back into our layers panel and we start to bring everything back, like so, we can see maybe we want a little path coming through here, like so. Like so. Okay, now maybe in our world there's some I don't know, some green, some green things going on, running along this path, some growth, some undergrowth. Now we can also add some highlights to that, like so. And we can delineate, basically adding some shadows here. Like so. And if we go back to our scatter, like that, we can actually add some very small bushes which helps to separate the path. Like so. Now change brush back to our palette knife, hit the white, brown, we can add some highlights to our path, like so. And we could, if we wished, also add some small trees behind the bushes here, in front of our mountains. Like so, going up to the path. But remember to keep them horizontal, vertical, sorry, because in nature plant growth grows upwards towards the sun. Now keep these trees small, as it will show they are in the distance. It's nothing wrong with them having a little bit of variation in colour. like so. My tea. Now, I think we could actually call that a finished painting if we so desired. Now, let us get our knife back, reduce the size quite sharply, and just add what could be some sunlight bouncing off in the fields here, like so. There. So there we have a finished painting. As you can see, it doesn't take too long to actually do. I mean, it's all a case of making it look like there is stuff there. So yeah. So don't forget, Control S, save often, and that is it. So when will the next stream be? Well, the next stream will be next Wednesday night, and we shall be using Krita's animation feature, and we will take an old Warner Brothers cartoon, look at one section of it and reproduce it using Krita. So stay tuned, check on Facebook, check on the community tab in here to see what will be happening in that. Okay, this is just a short stream today. As I said earlier, the golf is on. So I shall see you next week. Enjoy your painting. Bye.